Slava held the glass of whiskey close to his eye and peered through it like telescope to the rest of the world. He used his golden murky lens to once again look at his captive, Captain Janosevich. Captain Janosevich looked almost happy to Slava through whiskey looking glass. He had had much whiskey this night. Whiskey was not proper drink aboard Russian nuclear submarine. No, whiskey was not a patriotic choice to have gotten drunk and kidnapped Captain. Vodka. If he had drunken vodka like good Russian sailor, he could have convinced shipmates of his plan. Now Slava worried if plan would work at all. He wanted to steal a vessel, sail it to the USA, defect and retire to Montana. This was the plan in movie Hunt for Red October. It was good plan. Slava always knew a good plan when he saw one. Slava maybe made mistake when he got drunk before finding more conspirators. He would have liked to have seen Montana.
Yeah. This XFL Fancast. Woo! Yeah. XFL Fancast, y'all. Oh, you know I ain't gonna make you wait. XFL Fancast. Let's get on with the show. XFL Fancast. Now. Dude, guys, and ladies, whoever's listening, wherever you are, dude, the XFL is better than I remembered. It is better than I remembered. So just so you know, I've recorded 2 episodes. This is episode 3. I've recorded 2 episodes of the podcast, the XFL Fancast, which you're listening to now. Thank you very much. So I've recorded 2 podcasts already, and I purposely have not done a ton of research yet. I kind of want y'all to go with me on the journey of doing research, because it's probably more interesting to have me react as I'm learning stuff. Well, anyway, that's a theory. Maybe it's wrong, but it's what I'm going with. You know, in life, you have to have a decision and stick with it. But let me tell you, the XFL is crazy. I had forgotten. So it's amazing. So I have some ideas for different shows, and hopefully y'all will be sending me in ideas for shows and topics and whatnot. But some ideas I had is to just do deep dives on old games, just sort of like make a companion for old games that have already been played, and just kind of comment, watch the game. So that's what we're going to do with this episode. So this episode is we're going to dissect an old game and just talk about it. And so so this thing is so crazy. This has got to be a 2-part episode, because I think in the future, if I do games, we'll just have 1 episode per game. But there's just so much introductory stuff we have to talk about right now with this first game, because I am seriously just watched the XFL for the first time since 2000. Is it 2001? When did this thing come out? I think it was 2001. So for the first time since I've watched the XFL is right now. So I just watched the first. Okay, I just paused my video playback, and I'm at 6 minutes 29 seconds. So that's how much I've watched, and I have so many opinions. It is, this is so cool. Now I remember why I liked it. It's like you don't always remember why you like stuff. It's like you have this distant memory of what it was like to watch something, but I don't have specifics on what I liked and why I liked it. But I just got done watching. I found on YouTube there's a lot of XFL games, and so hopefully these stay up there, and the XFL is smart and doesn't make these guys take it down. But right now there's XFL Week 2. So this is what I'm watching. XFL Week 2. Chicago Enforcers versus LA Extreme. Double OT with bonus coverage. That is the title of the video I'm watching. It's got 54,000 views, which is not bad. Not bad at all. But this thing is, oh my gosh, I just forgot. I forgot all about this. So many things happen in this first 6 minutes and 29 seconds. And we're not even on kickoff yet. Oh my gosh. So number one, they use Jesse the Body Ventura. Like, they use the wrestling announcers to be the announcers. Like, that is oh my gosh. They use, and I could look it up, but they use like kind of the one guy that used to do the ringside announcing, and then they have Jesse the Body. And I will cop to it right now. I'm like a medium wrestling fan. I like it. Like, if I do watch it, I liked it. And, when I was in college, I got deep into wrestling. Like, I watched a lot of wrestling. For like when I was 19, I watched like a ton of wrestling, maybe 18, 19. I watched it every week. I watched both, WWE and WCW. I watched them both. And then I also, of course, I loved in the 80s, like I was Hulkamania. Like, I loved Hulk Hogan and all that jazz. I loved it. All that jazz, just said all that jazz. That's an old man comment. That is lame. Try to avoid saying all that jazz in your life. That is my advice. That's my advice. So they have the wrestling announcers. Like, I forgot that. Like, who remembered that? Maybe people listening, because y'all are fans of the XFL. But yeah, if you haven't watched one of these XFL games on YouTube, you gotta at least watch the first few minutes. It is unbelievable. So quick thoughts on this first 6 minutes. More thoughts. So they had the wrestling announcers, right? So they had the wrestling announcers, and that's like unbelievable enough, right? Just to have those guys. But in the first few minutes, like Jesse the Body, which if you don't remember, if you don't know, Jesse the Body Ventura became governor of Minnesota for a while. In fact, like, this is 2001. Like, was he already governor? I feel like he had been governor and had been retired. Like, my memory is that Jesse the Body was governor in the 90s. So like, he'd already, like, so this is like a former governor announcing a football game. Like, that couldn't be cooler. Maybe I'm wrong, and then someone's gonna nail me on the comment section. Well, hopefully someone nails me on the comment section, because that means someone's listening. I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm recording 3 podcasts before I even release any of them. So I don't even know if anyone's going to listen. I might get like 4 of you, and all 4 of you, God bless you. And hopefully, I want to get a listener in Moldova. If I get a listener in Moldova, like, that's when I know I've made it. Like, if I get like Macedonia and Moldova, like the two proud M nations in this world, I want y'all to listen. So if y'all are from one of those 2 countries, like literally not your family, you're in one of those 2 countries, Macedonia or Moldova, you have to hit me up. I will be a proud papa if that happens. But that's neither here nor there. What we're talking about is how awesome XFL is in 2001. It is just, it's all gimmick all the time. And, and I'm someone that enjoys gimmicks. I enjoy absurdity. So obviously current landscape is awesome for me. There's everything's absurd, and I enjoy that. But I remember when this came out, it was just like they were trying so hard, because the NFL, although had some problems back then, the other football league had some problems. It was definitely more entrenched than it is now. Like it was still on the ascendant. It was still rising. So the XFL had to like come up with like some crazy angles to get you to watch. Like, it's the Extreme Football League. But, whatever. I loved it. And I loved the competition. I think I've already covered some of why I love the XFL and, like, the general idea of, competition being amazing. But, okay, so let's talk about this first 6 minutes of that game. Okay, so we've talked about the announcers. The other thing that was just unbelievable was... they had this storyline. They developed a storyline where one of the backup quarterback, the wife was 4 days overdue from pregnancy, and she could literally burst at any moment. And then they cut to Stephanie McMahon. This is amazing. This is a very young and beautiful Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is man, she's so pretty in this promo. But that's a side topic. But so she's talking about how they have the helicopter standing by to whisk this backup quarterback's wife to the hospital, because she's so dedicated to the XFL. She can't be at home. She has to be at the XFL, because that's how cool it is. That's how amazing the XFL is. But just that storyline is so cool. I'm sure there was probably some hint of truth. She was probably 7 months pregnant, or who knows? Maybe this is true. Maybe this is real. I don't know. I want it to be real. So I'm gonna believe it's real, even if it's not, because I'm what's known as a mark, and I enjoy being a mark. Because it's just all about fantasy and having a good time, and it's more fun to watch if there's a backup quarter, because that's so random. I mean, where they have a team of writers and they came up with, let's make the backup quarterback's wife pregnant. I think they just saw an opportunity, and they might have added a little embellishment, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's true, but it was awesome. I watched it. I'm serious. I'm at 6 minutes 29 seconds. This has all happened. Everything I've talked about. Another thing that's amazing is, the names: Chicago Enforcers, LA Extreme. These are amazing names. Chicago Enforcers is a great name. What do they enforce? They just enforce it. We're the enforcers. I mean, they might enforce puritanical rule. They might enforce a doctrine of being boring. They might be the censors. They just enforce. We don't know what they enforce. They might enforce dress code. Maybe they're the dress code enforcers. They make sure you have a button-down shirt and a pocket square. I don't know, but it's a great name. I don't care. The Enforcers, it's unbelievable. LA Extreme, solid, fun to say. I'm in Los Angeles, by the way. I might have covered that in the previous podcast. I don't remember. I talk a lot, but I'm in a place called Manhattan Beach, which is pretty sweet. Come visit here if you've never been. Very, very calm and happy. Everyone's cool here. Okay, so so another thing I saw is the quarterback. The quarterback is Tommy Maddox. This is incredible. I didn't remember that Tommy Maddox was in the XFL. I didn't remember. And it's pure dumb luck. I will be completely honest. I didn't put a lot of research into which game I picked. I typed into the YouTube search bar XFL game. That's all I typed in. And then there was a list of games that came up, and this one, I think it said double OT in the title, so I was like, okay, cool, that might be a good game. So let's go with this. And it was early on in the season, because I want to do a few of these. So I was like, okay, I want to pick one early in the season, and double OT. Okay, so that's cool. So then it's talking about how Tommy Maddox is the quarterback, and this is special to me because I'm from Denver. Like I grew up in Denver, mostly in Denver. I think I moved to Denver when I was about 9 years old or so, and definitely stayed there until my early 20s. And I was in Denver when the Denver Broncos drafted Tommy Maddox. Like, it was crazy too because the Broncos had John Elway. Like John Elway, yeah, like you've heard of him. Like one of the, there's not a top 10 list that doesn't have John Elway, and John Elway can easily crack a lot of top 5 lists of all-time quarterbacks, and he's still the GM of the Broncos. So this is a hyper famous guy, and before John Elway went on to win 2 Super Bowls. So obviously he had a lot left in the tank. He won 2 Super Bowls. The Broncos coach at the time, Dan Reeves, drafts Tommy Maddox. I think it was a first round pick. I'm not gonna look that up, but I think it was a first round pick, pretty sure. And it was hugely controversial in Denver at the time. I was just a kid, and I felt the shock and anger and anguish. I think I did listen to talk radio. I like I said, I think I've said before, I listened to talk radio since I was like 12, and so I love talk radio. But I definitely was listening to sports radio by then, and it might have been in my early days. But they drafted Tommy Maddox, and it was crazy. Like, it was very controversial. So, and Tommy Maddox was never that good. I think he played with the Broncos. Like, he bounced around a little bit. But he ends up in the XFL. That's awesome. Like, I can't wait to see who ends up in the XFL in 2020. And I'm hoping it's freaking Tim Tebow. Like, I can only hope. And I'm going to have a whole Tim Tebow show. I'm going to have a Tim Tebow episode. I'm going to talk about, because I'm from Denver. I saw Tim Tebow live multiple times. Incredible experiences, and I'm going to talk about why Tim Tebow should join the XFL. I'm going to make my pitch. That's another episode. But Tommy Maddox, so I don't know, like, it's like the stars are aligning. Like, I happened to pick an episode where Tommy Maddox was the starter of the game, and that's like crazy to me. It really brings me into the game. Like, I'm looking forward to pressing play and just watching this game. I want to see like how Tommy Maddox looks, because I remember Tommy Maddox, and it was he just had no shot in Denver. Because why did they draft him in the first place? John Elway was still John Elway, but this is like local politics in Denver. But Dan Reeves and John Elway always were butting heads, and they always butted heads, and so Dan Reeves was a defensive coach, and John Elway and Dan Reeves, I think, went to 3 Super Bowls together in the 80s. So, they obviously had success, but it was always like they were kind of putting them like a muzzle on John Elway's full talent. But in any event, they drafted Tommy Maddox, and that was wild at the time. And he's in this game. Like, I can't wait. Like, I have to press play. So you're gonna get my take on how Tommy Maddox is looking later on in this episode and the next, because I'm probably pause it and do another episode, or maybe I just keep talking. And we'll make part 2 just like the breakdown of the game. And I'm really looking forward to the overtime in this game, because I know that the XFL had different overtime rules. And to be honest, I don't even know what they are. Like, we're gonna talk about them. You're gonna hear my like fresh take. I'm gonna record it as soon as I watch it. Like, I honestly watched this right before I press play. So that's the deal. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how Tommy Maddox looks. So in this game, the Chicago Enforcers and the LA Extreme are both 0-1. So like victory's on the line. Like things got to happen. That's crazy. So we're looking forward to see how everyone plays. So the way they started the game was like it was great camera work. They got everyone hype. Like they had like kind of like like music. They like kind of like hard rock got you in the mood, and just like the camera angles made it seem like the place was just off the chain, off the hook, right? And they had like they had like the fans going crazy. Like they had this like close-ups of these dudes just going wild, and like, and then like they had a couple camera shots that showed the stadium was not full, but like they did not focus on the fact that it wasn't full. Like, but they definitely made it seem like super hype and cool. And then the other thing that was really interesting was the scramble. So the way they determined like who the kickoff, right? So they call it the scramble. So they cut to this gentleman who explains it to the audience. He's like, he talks about how the values of the XFL. They said, what did they say? It was awesome. It was like, we don't believe in heads or tails. We believe in heads and heart, right? And so it was. So then, like he explains kind of how what they do is they set a football like 20 yards away or so, and then two players run towards the football, and whoever can, gain possession of the football, then they get to pick, what they're gonna do. Like, are they gonna receive or are they gonna kick off? But this is an awesome way to do it. Like it is, it was so fun to watch. I'll just tell you, like it's incredible. So then they have the official. He's bull jiving with the players. Like, man, I don't even know what he's saying. Maybe I could listen to it again and turn the volume up. But it seemed like they weren't really talking to one another. It seemed a little contrived. However, that's okay. It was so cool. It doesn't matter. Like, there's going to be a little contrivedness to all this, but that's fine. That's fine. I think. With the new XFL, like Vince McMahon said, it's not going to be a gimmick-driven league. However, the gimmicks are what made my heart pause. The gimmicks are what made my heart pause. Was a verbal tick because I had a knock at my door. In fact, I had pizza delivered right now because today is my cheat meal. I try to, I work out. I lift weights, I work out, and I try to go buck wild a meal or two a week just because I don't believe in being a Puritan when it comes to eating. And, you put a lot of work in. It's nice to have a pizza every once in a while, and pizza's delicious. So I'm sure some of y'all can relate. But so the pizza guy was just knocked at the door. But so we're going to keep talking about this. So Vince McMahon says it's not going to be a gimmick-driven league. And, that's cool. I hope there's still a couple gimmicks. And one that I hope is this scramble thing. This was cool. So, like, this happened in the first few minutes of this game. So the two players, like, they got to run, I don't know, is it 10 yards? Is it 20 yards? It's something like 10 or 20 yards. And so there's a ball at the, 50-yard line. And both players on, like, ready, set, go. They both run and dive at the ball. And it was actually cool. So, like, they had different techniques. So one player went low and the other player went over the top of the other player and actually was able to scoop up the ball. Like, I'm looking forward to watching this, and as I watch more games, watching like what happens with this. Like, it's interesting. Like, there's a little chaos. Like, you don't know exactly what's going to happen, and that's, like I said, like, that's what I'm looking for with these rules and different things. Like, I like a little unpredictability, and I like to use the word chaos for that. So this was a lot of fun. So there was like so much happening in this first 6 minutes. It's just all set up, like, they get you hype, like the music, the setting, the mood, like, something's different. This isn't the NFL. They want you to know this isn't the NFL. Like, this is hype. So this is really cool. So that is the first 6 minutes and 29 seconds right before they're about to kick off, and I'm looking forward to like really diving in with the rest of this game. So that is all for now. I think we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna do a part 2 where I break down the rest of the game, and we'll talk about the overtime. We're gonna give you some thoughts on Tommy Maddox. So maybe, if y'all are up for it, do a little pregame and watch this on YouTube. So this is gonna come out, like I'll do the next episode next week, and we'll dive into this game and we'll talk about it. So actually, that's cool. So I gave you, we talked a little, we got a little hype together about the first 6 minutes, and watch the game, and then you'll have someone to hang out with and talk about what happened in that game, and I'm gonna, obviously, you hear the kind of things I like to focus on. I mean, I talk about the sports angles, but I'm really interested in the absurd factors, like just how like the thoughts, like why are they doing this camera angle, and of course. So you got an idea of like the kind of things I'm into just by hearing this. So we're gonna go over the rest of the game in next week's episode, the same exact game. So look it up, rewind, and find when I told you the title, find it, and we'll keep it rolling. And so please interact with the show. Send me your feedback, any kind of feedback, and send me some jokes. I'd love to get some jokes. I love jokes. I'd like to make this like so this is a fun hangout, and this is like, a little corner of the internet where we're going to get silly. We're going to have fun with XFL. That's all it is. So that's my plan. And like I said, we had the mission statement about the bold predictions of where I want this thing to go. But for now, we're just hanging out. I mean, you know what? We'll probably always hang out. It's always going to be hanging out. But, so let's just dive into these old episodes. I mean, these old games, but that's not every week. It's going to switch up. I think I'm going to talk about, golly, we already got some episodes planned. We're going to talk about Tim Tebow. We're going to talk about the overtime rules. We're going to do the second, next week. So the episode 4 is going to be the second, really the follow-up breakdown of this entire game. This was just the preamble, if you will. It's not going to probably go into as much detail. We'll jump around a little bit more. But, yeah, and then we just got all sorts of things, and then who knows where we go, we can get some like cool ideas of like fun episodes, and then we'll just keep it rolling, get some interviews going, you know how we do. But this was a lot of fun. Like I actually have fun creating these episodes, and it's just so crazy. I can't wait to see if I get any listeners. So if you're listening to this far in episode 3, you've got just one man's just amazement, and it's fun. Like we're taking a journey together. But hey, so that's it. That's this episode. I really enjoy y'all, and this is the XFL Fancast, and we are signing off.
That was another edition of the XFL Fancast with your host, Seven Morgan. Please reach out to us, communicate with us via Twitter at XFL Fancast, at XFL Fancast on Twitter, via email, xflfancast@gmail.com, xflfancast@gmail.com, and please rate and subscribe. Thank you once again for listening to the XFL Fancast.